G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because the mighty All Blacks has brought with them one of the most beautiful, most prestigious, the most amazing treasure with them here in Sydney, and that is the Lord Bledisloe Cup. Yes, this is one of the most amazing pieces of silverware you were ever gonna see in your entire life. And, you know, when I was a child, I had the privilege of having my photo taken with my, team in high school with the Bledisloe Cup. And it was interesting because I do remember putting my hand on the cup, at the back of the cup, just feeling around, and there was a dent. There was a dent at the back of the cup. And the story was, the rumor, not sure if this is true or not, was that Jerry Collins, rest in peace, Mr. Jerry Collins, was drop dead celebrating whilst drinking out of the cup, okay? That was the rumor, okay? Not sure if true or not, and I'm sure the dent has been fixed since then, but hey, I will never forget there was a dent at the back of the Bledisloe Cup. But hey, that aside, it's been what? 22 long years, and I think that, the last time the Wallabies touched, none of the players actually, in fact, I might have touched the Bledisloe Cup before any of the Wallabies players that are going to be playing on the field this weekend. And yes, and maybe they will never touch the cup in their whole life. So what a privilege it was for me to have laid my hands on the cup, and something that I don't think, it's been a long time, literally generation of Wallaby players have never actually won the cup. So yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be one of those things that you just, my expectations has been so low nowadays. I don't even expect the Wallabies to win. I just hope that the Wallabies can walk out with a draw here in Sydney, and that'll be a win for me, okay? That'll be a win for me, just the draw. That's all I ask for. And, with the Bledisloe only contested between 2 tests nowadays. If the All Blacks win the first test, the second test is going to be a dead rubber, right? Nobody wants to see that. So a draw in the first test still leaves the door open for the second test to be contested, for a slimmer of hope that the Wallabies can still win at the dreaded, not Auckland, Wellington. And yeah, maybe the Wallabies can pull an upset there. But hey, it is one of those things that you think about, right? I do think that the Bledisloe Cup should there be a draw. It should be come down to determined by point difference, just to make the second test a little bit more exciting, in case that the All Blacks wins the first test, and the second test, a dead rubber we saw many years. This is how you lose interest. This is how you lose all the fans. This is how you lose money, right? Like, when you have such an important match of the year, basically a dead rubber every year, going to the second test in New Zealand. And it's just not something that, even though the Wallabies might not win in New Zealand, it's just going to be like having that option, having that door cracked open. It's just makes it a little bit more exciting for all the fans to be watching. And I do think that they should change that, for future references. And I'm not really a fan of 3 test series, because it leaves one of the teams in a disadvantage. 2 tests, whichever nation could potentially just win the cup, and you don't want the cup to be like, juggle back and forward between whoever team has hosting 2 nations. And I'm definitely against 4 test series, because we tried that before and that has not gone well for either of us. And speaking of the Bledisloe being dropped down to 1 test because the All Blacks going to go overseas for a 4 test series against the Springboks, I hope they have learned their lessons and really don't do that. At least just make sure it's a 3 test series, not a 4 test series, especially there's talks that the 4 test is going to be in America. That's what we did. We put the 4th test in Japan, in Hong Kong. I honestly don't even remember anything from the Japan test. I remember the Hong Kong tests. But yeah, there was apparently Bledisloe Cup games played in Japan. I can't even tell you anything from that match. And yeah, so let me know your thoughts about that. But let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the big lineup, the men that have given the privilege to play for the most beautiful silverware in the world this weekend. So obviously the Wallabies have 2 big returns from injuries. So Hunter Paisami coming in at back at number 12, and The biggest one that I've been looking forward to returning is Fraser McReight. He has been absolutely tremendous in Super Rugby and has built that solid foundation that he's been working on into the Wallabies. Showed a lot of dominance against Wales, and due to an injury, he wasn't able to play against the Springboks, and I really been looking forward for him to come back to bring that bit more physicality, especially around the rocks, and something that the Wallabies has been struggling, and something that the All Blacks has been struggling a little bit as well against the Springboks. So this could be going either way, and I think that Fraser McReight will bring that point of difference for the Wallabies. For the All Blacks, the big return is at front. Ethan de Groot, I am Groot, he's back in the number 1 jersey. He had a bit of a nagging issue, and he's back, feeling good again. Had a bit of massage, I guess, a few weeks off. And he's really dominant. He's by far the best player in Super Rugby for the for his team in the Highlanders. And he was just despite being a prop, he was really doing a lot of work for the Highlanders in their season. And very impressive player to see him back in the fold for the All Blacks. So that's the two big returns for the sides. And the Bledisloe Cup hasn't been won by the Wallabies since 2002, and it's been how many years now? 22 years. I've lost count. 21 consecutive losses. So yeah, this will be the 22nd year if we lose this one again. And yeah, it's gonna be tough. And it's gonna be it's it's gonna be really tough. Especially considering how poor the Wallabies went against Argentina. Maybe that's going to be a wake-up call for the team to be more consistent. But then again, the All Blacks hasn't been great themselves. It's a bit of an interesting situation to see both teams on the bottom of the Rugby Championship going into the Bledisloe match. And it's kind of like fight to stay off the bottom of the table, essentially, for both teams. And yeah, I think the All Blacks will definitely bring it, especially losing the Freedom Cup. They're definitely not going to be keen to lose the Bledisloe in addition, and considering that they might have already lost the Rugby Championship, I think they have already lost the Rugby Championship, so they have no chance of winning that anymore. They definitely are looking to retain the Bledisloe. So yeah, they're gonna be up for it, and it's really gonna come down to which team wanting it more. And I really hope that the Wallabies put up a good fight this weekend, and not to get flogged like they did against Argentina. So the referee, the most important man on the field, is Carl Dixon from England. He has been much better than he was last year, and very it's becoming quite a decent referee nowadays. And we'll see how he goes. I don't think he's being an English referee, I don't think he's gonna favor either teams, since he hasn't really had any of the exposure for Super Rugby. But I do think that he's a little bit stricter than what the players are going to be used to playing for Super Rugby in that regard. The weather, it's going to be in Sydney. It's going to be nice and sunny on Saturday. This is going to be an afternoon game. So it could be, so it's going to be like 3 p.m. So it's actually going to be quite hot. 22 degrees in the sun. With the black jersey, we know that the black color absorbs more heat and retains more heat than the gold jersey. So that might actually give the Wallabies a little bit of edge there. Just, the hot weather to potentially play them a bit of a factor there. But I wouldn't put the All Blacks out of the contentions. They played in North Queensland against the Springboks in steaming hot heat and was able to walk out that with a win. So yeah, here the history of the two teams. Interestingly, last time the two teams play only one test was in 1994. So if the tour happens and the All Blacks going to play one test Bledisloe in 2026, it's going to be, it's literally like, a couple decades now, 3 decades almost, over 3 decades since that. Is this over 3 decades? Over 3 decades since the two teams only play one test for the Bledisloe. And in recent times we've had that. Like I said, I don't remember these games in Tokyo at all. I do remember the Hong Kong games, and this is a mistake that New Zealand Rugby has made in the past, playing 4-test series in a tour sort of fashion with the 4th test overseas. I really hope that they don't make that mistake again with the Springboks. So yes, let's talk about the game. Here's my website. You can check it out at wildkardrugby.com. All the player stats. The stats has been updated to be the official stats from the All Blacks and the Wallabies website. So if there are any issues, send your complaints to Rugby Australia and to All Blacks Rugby. This is directly from the website. And let's have a look at who's in, who's out, and who's got the edge in the lineup. So coming in first in the front row is Angus Bell, Matt Fazler, and Tanela Tupou for the Wallabies. I have been looking forward to this set up against the All Blacks for a while. This is the strongest front rowers from the Wallabies. In fact, I actually rate the Wallabies front rowers, both Angus Bell and Tana Tupu, as one of the tops in the world. If it wasn't for all the injuries, a bit of inconsistencies, these two guys could really be like right up there if they had been given more time and given more, care from the coaching staff as well. So this will be a huge battle this weekend against, I thought, again, one of the best scrummages in the world. Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, and Tara Lomax coming in for the All Blacks. Ethan de Groot and Tara Lomax, obviously Rugby World Cup, silver medalists. Last couple of rounds against the, obviously Ethan de Groot wasn't here last couple of rounds, but Tara Lomax was having a bit of a problem in the loose hair side against Ox Nche. So Angus Bell, hopefully he studies some of that footage and may have a bit of a go at Tara Lomax there. Tana Tupu has been just dominant every time he has a scrum, and I think de Groot de Groot should be okay with Tupu. Having de Groot back is pretty like a huge important return for the All Blacks to match up with Tupu, I think. And I think Angus Bell, obviously a much taller bloke than Ox Nche. Ox Nche is about 175, so that height matches up with Lomax's height at 192 centimeters tall. So both players are equaling height, and I just think that it's going to be a tough battle. But I think that Angus Bell don't have that height advantage like Ox Nche had. But hey, we'll have to see if he's going to be able to. We're going to see if he's done his homework and maybe picked up a few tips from Ox Nche. So coming in the locks position now, this is what I was expecting from the All Blacks. Scotty Barrett, the captain, coming in number 4, and Tupou comes in at number 5, despite Patrick Tuipulotu clear from injury. I thought Tupou has been absolutely outstanding against the Springboks. His work around the rocks, not only the line out looks a lot better, but his work around the rocks, just being able to disrupt a lot of the tempo, was really well done as well. So I was pretty happy to see him at number 5. For the Wallabies, Nick Frost coming number 4. Again, he's been really good. The line out, probably the best guy at the line out. Jeremy Williams has retained number 5 jersey. I guess had a pretty good first half performance against Argentina in that second test. And and also the Wallabies have loaded up the bench with a little bit. Just knowing that the All Blacks struggles in that second half, struggles in that final 20 minutes, and unable to score any points, sort of plaguing issue for them. So maybe the Wallabies wants to exploit that with Lukam Salakai-Loto moved down to the bench again this week. Coming the loose forwards now, this will be an interesting area because Carl Dixon, how he's going to referee the area, it's going to be interesting to see. And he could be pretty strict around the rocks. And both teams are going to be, hasn't really had the best results around the rocks for both teams. So it's going to be, we'll have to see how that's going to turn out. Who's going to get penalized more, who's going to be more disciplined. So big return for the Wallabies. We're going to talk about Fraser McRae, number 7. He's up against the former captain, Sam Cane. This will be like the old dog versus the new dog, young gun kind of battle there. Again, discipline is going to be the key. Rob Valentini, it's going to be at the blindside flanker for the Wallabies. Wallace Satiti retains the number 6 jersey. I think that the coaching staff has a lot of hope for this guy and his future. Obviously, his dad was an All Black as well. And he's shown a lot of skill. The ball carrying skill from this guy, it's going to be something that I think might be slightly better than Rob Valentini in that regards. Coming in number 8 now, Harry Wilson is the captain for the Wallabies. And then Adi Savea for the All Blacks will be coming in number 8. And obviously, Adi Savea is more of a ball runner than Harry Wilson. And Harry Wilson had periods where he carried the ball really well for the Reds, like maybe last couple of years ago. But I think in recent times, he's become more of a defender style than a ball carrying style that he was showing us in the past. Coming the back line now, this will be, again, very interesting to see how the Wallabies going to match up with this All Blacks. And obviously, the last week, last round, 2 weeks ago, the All Blacks tried to have Beauden Barrett on the bench to come off as an impact player. Despite having Beauden Barrett coming off the bench, he was not able to bring any points for the All Blacks in the last 20 minutes. So they have decided once again to front load the team and put, their most experienced, their sort of best team, best backline sort of loaded up front for the Wallabies for the start. So Nick White comes in number 9 for the Wallabies, and interesting setup next to Noah Lolosio with what's his name? The Waratahs fly half dropped out of the out of the 23. What's his name? Anyway, you'll come up to me later. So Nick White gets that shot here. Cordes Radama gets a shot at number 9. This will be a huge match for him. Courting up to 9. He was in the starting position 2 rounds ago against the Springboks with TJ Perenara coming off as a finisher. So they have once again settled for that setup. Nola Sio gets the number 10 jersey. Despite all the criticism I levied against him, I think that, based on the performance last 2 weeks ago, I think Nola Sio is definitely the best number 10 right now for us. I do think that Australian rugby missed that opportunity with Carter Gordon. But it is what it is. We're going to have to settle with Nola Sio. Again, physicality is going to be a key issue for him to improve and work on. Damien McKenzie coming in at number 10 for the All Blacks. Not someone I think that a little bit more physical than Nola Sio, but also someone very similar style between the two. But I think Damien McKenzie is a little bit better off the feet, being able to pick his options to run and counter attack and finding those gaps in front of him a little bit better than Nola Sio. Coming in number 11, Marika Corumbeti and Caleb Clark, the powerhouse. Both sides decided to put a powerhouse winger at 11 jersey on opposite end of the field. And we'll have to see who's got the physicality. I think Caleb Clark's has been such a huge form right now. He's looking amazing, and I wouldn't be surprised if he scores the opening try for the Test match. Hunter Vesami returns to number 12, Lenny Kitau number 13, and I think the key role here for the Wallabies center combination is to try to give the ball to Lenny Kitau, because every time he had the ball for the last couple rounds now, that he's been very, very effective opening up the opposition defense. So again, it's about getting the ball to Lenny Kitau, being able to give him some space to work with, and that's something that I think Hunter Paisami might look to do. Jordy Barrett number 12 and Riku Ioane gets caught in number 13. Despite I think Riku Ioane, despite his underperformance in the first couple rounds in the Test match and his underperforming during Super Rugby, he's actually looked a lot better a couple weeks ago against the Springboks. So I do think that he probably deserved the jersey here, number 13. And Jordy Barrett as well, being kind of like the veteran now, number 12. I don't really see anybody else over the 12 jersey right now for the All Blacks. Maybe Caleb Clark if he wants to switch, but Antonello Brown is still a little bit behind for Jordy Barrett for that 12 jersey. Yeah, a lot of you guys thought Jordy Barrett hasn't been that physically, hasn't been showing that physical dominance like he did before. But really there isn't much of an option here for the All Blacks at the moment. Coming number 14 jersey, Andrew Callaway up against the huge, always impressive Will Jordan. A lot of the kicking game will be neutralized with Will Jordan on the field, so the Wallabies has to be really, really careful. Some of those crossfield kicks, Will Jordan's one of the best players at intercepting those crossfields, and I think that's something that they have to probably take out of the playbooks. And not a lot of crossfield kicks. It's gonna go straight to Will Jordan intercepting it. And I have to see if they do their homework. The Wallabies, number 15 coming in, it's Tom Wright and Beauden Barrett, the veteran, once again for the All Blacks. I do think that Tom Wright is a little bit maybe he had a bit of break. Maybe he's going to freshen up a little bit. He did look a little bit maybe burned out. Wasn't quite in the same form that he was against Wales, and definitely not the same form that he was against in Super Rugby as well. So hopefully he's kind of came back to his form a little bit following that little bit of break. For the Wallabies in the back line now, Brandon Panga Amosa comes in number 16. Jem Slipper, number 17, and number 18, Alan Alator. The veterans for the Wallabies are coming off the bench in front row. For the All Blacks, Asafa Aomoa, number 16. Tamati Williams, the youngster, number 17. And Pasilio Tossi, the guy that has one of the highest run meters and offloads as a front rower, gets caught up at number 18 jersey. Obviously, there was a bit of a injury to Fletcher Newell, and Tossi is a big impact player, to say the least, coming off the bench. He's definitely not a Fletcher Newell. He might not be as good as Fletcher Newell defensively, but offensively, this guy is absolutely a running ball carrying machine right there. So look out for that. Lukam Salaka-Loto, the Wallabies are loaded there. The experience there at number 19. Sam Darry for the All Blacks was unused. So there was a lot of criticism against the All Blacks following the Springbok test and the second test. A lot of the bench wasn't used, and people, it's kind of showed the lack of experience from as an international test coach experience from the Razor Robinson, because in club rugby you can get away with not using your bench because you know, you're not going to have international test level players coming off the bench for the opposition. Whereas in test rugby, you have to use your bench, because when the opposition put on their bench their test players and you have tired bodies out there, you're going to get exploited. So yeah, we'll have to see if Sam Darry gets a run this weekend. He has been pretty good for the All Blacks, and yeah, it's really weird to see him not get a go against the Springboks. Langy Gleeson coming number 20, and Luke Jacobson for the All Blacks. Whilst we're on the subject of substitution, I thought the Wallabies kind of did the opposite of the All Blacks against Argentina in the second test. They just put on everybody way too quickly. A lot of the youngsters came onto the field and was just like overwhelmed by the ascendancy, that the momentum that Argentina was riding on, and just completely fell apart because there was too many players swapped out too quickly for the Wallabies, and there was a lack of consistency out there on the field, leading basically Argentina running away with the game, exploiting that lack of cohesion on the field, and just really punishing the Wallabies. And I thought that was basically the opposite of what the All Blacks did. Too conservative with the All Blacks and way too relaxed for the Wallabies, putting everybody on too early and too quickly. And this situation was poorly timed for the Wallabies. If you ever want to see a bomb squad, when they put on the players at times that would make an impact, the Wallabies literally did the opposite. They put the players on the worst possible times, fed them straight to the Argentinians, yeah, hopefully they don't do that again this weekend. Coming in number 21 now, Tate McDermott and TJ Perenara, as always, the finisher, number 21. Number 22, Tom Liner and Anton Leonard-Brown. Interestingly, the All Blacks don't have an additional fly half on the bench, with Beauden Barrett obviously probably going to just move to 10 if need be. And then finally, Dylan Pish, number 23, an additional winger for the Wallabies. I don't understand why they so keen on having an extra winger on the bench. I think that, having an extra center for the Wallabies will be a better move. Having another winger, like, come on, I really don't think that, especially that winger that can't cover fullback, maybe a winger that can cover fullback. I just don't think that's, I think that's a pretty poor selection there for the Wallabies. For the All Blacks, a little bit different story. They have a winger on the here as well, because they're not running a fly half, so you can sort of justify that they've already got a center. There's no point running two centers on the bench, so then you come down to basically you're not going to have a fullback. You're either running a fullback or a winger, and they decided running a winger because they already got Beauden Barrett set to be the fullback, and Will Jordan as a fullback as well. So they already got two fullbacks on the field, so it kind of makes sense for the All Blacks to have another winger here because they really got all the other position covered. And then but the Wallabies, I just don't know why they have another winger. I guess that's why you have Joseph Swali'i coming in, just extra wingers all over the place, right? But yeah, anyway, I'm hoping for it to be a draw. Right, let's say 15 points to 15. Okay, that's my call. Okay, let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks for watching. And let me know. Have a good one. Cheers.